Going on YouTube, Cloverbills here, back with another Scarlet Violet video. And before we continue any further, Happy New Year! Yes, 2023 has come and gone. It's been a great year overall for VGC and for the channel. We've had a lot of growth with this past year, and hopefully we can keep it going into 2024. So if you've been watching the channel since, thank you very much. I appreciate your support. Cheers to a brand new year. All right, and with the brand new year means a brand new month, and with a brand new month means 5 more rental teams to give you something to start your new regulation off with. And technically the ladder is not live yet. All right, you have to wait till, I believe, after January 3rd, right? Which is still fine. You know, at least we can get these rentals out a couple days early. Maybe you can use them in some online tournaments, you know, before then. But either way, we got 5 teams that you can use. They've all been proven. They've all been solid and consistent. Some of them have already, you know, either top cut some of these online limitless tournaments. So, you know, we figured let's turn them into rentals and let's get them to people. So this way you got something good to start off your regulation F format with. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and start with the first team on the board. All right, kicking things off, we've got pretty standard RagingBolt here. And the whole idea with RagingBolt on this set is it is a Calm Mind leftover set. So now what you're able to do is potentially make it super bulky and make it hard hitting, so this way they can't break you. And it's really good with Intimidate, so this is why Incineroar comes here. Fake Out Pressure allows you to, you know, set Calm Mind, and you even have Rillaboom on the team, so double Fake Out Pressure to also try and get you to set up that that Calm Mind on the RagingBolt. And then Thunderclap and Dragon Pulse, you know, after 1 or 2 Calm Minds, are just doing so much damage, right? And if the opponent has, you know, sunny day out there, and then you're just boosting RagingBolt even more, right? Now from here, we need a little bit of speed control because RagingBolt is a little bit slow. So we got Tornadus here with Tailwind, and you might as well slap on Rain Dance, right? So this way your Urshifu is going to do a little bit more damage, which is right here on the team. You know, Choice Scarf Urshifu is really, really good, especially to the mirror if they are a Mystic Water Urshifu. And then we slap on Landers here, you know, with Substitute. Again, another strong special attacker to go along with RagingBolt. Just to deal a little bit more damage. You could make the argument that you could put Sandsear Storm on here when you have Rain, but I wanted Substitute here just to stall out potential Trick Room teams, you know, because Substitute and Protect is very, very good at doing that kind of job. But anyway, you know, again, you got a Fire, Water, Grass core here, you know, very, very standard stuff. And then you have speed control with Tornadus, double Genie idea with RagingBolt. So I think it makes a lot of sense. It's already been proven in the online limitless tour, so we figured, hey, let's just go ahead, turn it into a rental. Let's give something solid and consistent. All right, so from here, let's just go ahead and take a look at the Pokepaste to see how we did our AVs for this squad. All right, so basically with our Tornadus, I decided to sash this Tornadus and go Timid. So this way you're max, and now you're doing a pretty decent amount of damage, and then you have that Focus Sash, which means you're allowed to at least try and get up and set up a Tailwind and or Rain Dance, and then potentially next turn set up that second move, you know, whichever one you go first for. And then after that, RagingBolt with this EV spread, 60 HP, 220 defense, you're able to survive Chien-Pao adamant attacks, which is, I think, very, very important, you know, surviving that Icicle Crash. All right, and you could do it another way where you can add a little bit more HP and, you know, a little bit less defense, but then you give up a lot of special attack. And I didn't want it to do that. I wanted RagingBolt to at least have a decent amount of special attack despite having the Calm Mind setup. So at the very least, we still achieve the same damage calc, right? We just have a little bit less HP, but we're a little bit better defensively in terms of our bulk. We have a good special attack stat. We're hitting the bump here, and we're having a nice even number here with the special attack, as is our special defense. So this way you can optimize that. And then the speed here, you're hitting 108, so you're outspeeding 107, which means under Tailwind you are able to outspeed Dragapult, right? So that's the idea there. Landorus, again, just like Tornadus, straight Timid 252 set. There have been some bulky, modest Landoruses running around, right? But I just felt the need that, you know, that 101 speed stat is so important. You get to outspeed Chiyu, you get to outspeed Entei, and I think that's very important, you know, with something like Landorus. So I kept it as a max idea there. The Urshifu over there, that's just meant to outspeed Choice Scarf Landorus. All right, then from there, we just hit the 3rd benchmark in the attack stat, and then 44 HP, 44 defense will just allow it to survive Dragonite E-Speed boosted by Chien-Pao, you know, Adamant 252. And then, of course, 12 Spidef is just your leftovers. The Rillaboom set here, again, you know, just having max HP and then hitting the benchmark there with 116 attack allows you a little bit of flexibility, you know, to put into some special defense. So I just wanted to hit triple digits there, you know, just having a 100 stat there in your special defense. You know, a nice even number, you know, to optimize the value that you get out of your Assault Vest. 60 speed gets it to 113, you know, which again will outspeed 112s, which is what some Pokemon go for, because, you know, under a plus or minus one, whether it's coming from Icy Wind or something like that, you're able to outspeed the base 100s, right? So I felt like just hitting that mark was good. You know, 113 is pretty good. That'll outspeed some Heatrans as well, so I figured, we'll just keep it like that. The Incineroar here is a careful natured, 236 HP, will optimize the Citrus Berry recovery, and then 156 SpDef hits the benchmark there for careful nature, and then leftover EVs in defense, and then some 36 EVs into speed, just to have a little speed on your Incineroar. You might be able to win some fake out wars. It's not a particularly fast Incineroar, but at least some speed is decent. So, you know, that's the whole reason for that. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead into rental number 2. All right, rental number 2 is our Size Spam team, and this is with IronCrown. So Size Spam gets a little bit of a buff this time around. You get another tool that you can use in the Size Spam archetype, and that is IronCrown with booster energy. So now IronCrown with that base 120 plus special attack stat is going for hard-hitting expanding forces. It's a steel type as well, which means you have something against Flutter Mane, which is always very much appreciated, right? And then from there, we have the Terra Water option on the IronCrown. This is just for the fire types, you know, against stuff like Entei, or stuff like, you know, Flare Blitz from, you know, either Entei or Incineroar for that matter. So there's the benefit there. All right, and then of course you have the Indeedee with Terra Fairy to at least resist some dark type damage, and then of course just allowing it to set Follow Me and just spam Expanding Force is always a benefit. And then Trick Room is just really good into the Tailwind mirrors, and then you can also flip Trick Room on other opposing Trick Room teams. So there's the idea there, and then Helping Hand just makes Expanding Force, and other moves just do a ton of damage. Now, we did make a late change here where we actually had Flutter Mane in the Landorus Incarnate slot, but I'll tell you why we changed that in a second. But again, you know, just standard Tornadus Urshifu stuff yet again, just having Tailwind with Expanding Force, which is another useful tool that Size Spam can now use, because previously it was just like, you know, Armarouge and spamming stuff in Trick Room. But later in Regulation E, you started to see some Tailwind stuff with the Armarouge, and that idea gets now adapted into Regulation F with IronCrown, right? So from here, again, with Urshifu and Tornadus, you're doing a ton of damage with Surging Strikes in the rain and under Tailwind, so there's the benefit there. And then Chi-Yu just makes IronCrown also do a ton more damage, right? So if they do knock out the Indeedee, you could bring in Tornadus, you could bring in Chi-Yu, and then IronCrown can just do a ton of damage under extra speed, or, you know, a little bit more damage with Chi-Yu. Now, this is a Sash Chi-Yu, which I like a lot on these teams. You know, you're able to go for Snarls, especially, you know, into the mirror matchup, which is really, really nice. It's also good against, you know, Flutter Manes, Raging Bolts, you know, Archaludon, you know, and name a special attacker. You know, Chi-Yu can just nerf it. And then Landorus. So again, we had Flutter Mane here, which is a great combination with Chi-Yu as well. You know, really good against fighting types. Also really good against dark types that might want to, you know, attack Indeedee and IronCrown, so namely like Urshifu Dark. So why the change? Because basically Landorus is really good into the Ogerpon matchup. So, you know, imagine the Wellspring Ogerpon, which can give this team a little bit of trouble, you know, with especially if it gets that SpDef boost after Terastallization. So if we added the Landorus here, we can just do a ton of damage already with Sheer Force Life Orb. And then if it doesn't Terra, then we have something, you know, to hit it with, you know, something with Sludge Bomb. And then Sandsteer Storm in the range just does a ton of damage. So especially with Chi-Yu, you know, Chi-Yu and Landorus, they do a ton of damage, right? So that was the main change there. But if you wanted the Flutter Mane, then you can still run the Flutter Mane. I would probably just do Choice Specs Thunderbolt in that sense if you wanted to do the Flutter Mane route, just so that you have something to hit the Ogerpon with. But I was much more comfortable with the Landorus change here over the Flutter Mane. And then the rest of the 5 is just relatively standard, right? So let's take a look at the EVs. All right, so the IronCrown is relatively standard. I just went modest 252, 252 just to get the most bang out of my buck with the booster energy, just doing a ton of damage, especially with Helping Hand and even Chi-Yu on the field. IronCrown just does a ton of damage. Urshifu, the same kind of Urshifu in terms of physical bulk, 44 and 4 for the Dragonite E-Speed stuff. 156 Animate Nature now, you know, because again, hitting the benchmark and attack is important for Urshifu, and then under Tailwind and other, you know, Rain Dance is going to do a ton of damage. Again, you still have that speed tier with 212 just in case. All right, and then the Tornadus over here, it is a Timid Nature Tornadus this time around, and hitting that 156 mark under Timid which will allow you to outspeed an Iron Bundle with booster energy, right? Because they hit 309 speed, but this Tornadus, not only will it hit 310, but it'll actually pass it because we sped crap by 1 point. So, I just did that for, potential mirror matchups. But the bulk there, you are able to at least survive the Choice Scarf Urshifu Surging Strike. So there's the benefit there. And then the Chiyu is a sash set, 252 straightforward. Same with the Landorus. Nothing else needs to be said there. So a couple of 252 mons, which is a little bit against with what we do on the channel, but that's okay. Again, with the sash and with the Landers, it's understandable, and there's reasoning behind it anyway, right? So, anyway, it's pretty straightforward team, so let's go ahead and go into rental number 3. Rental number 3 features Archaludon Rain. Yet again, we have the Tornadus here with Rain. Has lots of Tornadus stuff. Again, the meta is very, very hyper offensive, but again, with the Archaludon, with the Assault Vest and Stamina, you get a nice combination of special defense bulk along with physical bulk when you're taking damage. Now, if you start racking up damage, you're able to go for body presses. And, even though you are taking damage, what you are also able to do is heal yourself. So if you can, go for Pollen Puff from your Amoonguss, that just benefits you because then you get more health back. That lets you take more hits. You get more defense boost, which means you get to click harder hitting body presses. Then from there, the Flutter Mane over here is actually a support Flutter Mane set with Moonblast, Shadow Ball, and Icy Wind. So you're able to get speed control for the Archaludon as well as your Urshifu and for yourself, along with your Tornadus, in addition with the Tailwind support, because Archaludon needs a little bit more speed, just besides the Tailwind. So I figured, Icy Wind is able to do very, very good stuff, especially into the Mirror Tailwind matchups. Then you have Incineroar and Urshifu here. So again, you're rounding out your Fire, Water, Grass core, and Incineroar will let you position with, Parting Shot, able to position out, weakening the opponent, and then bringing in Urshifu under Mystic Waters cases with the Rain Dance. Urshifu just does a ton of damage. And then Fake Out plus Surging Strikes, you can't protect in front of it. You're forced to switch, so whatever comes in has to take that Surging Strikes unless you are Ogerpon Wellspring. And then from there, of course, Amoonguss just gives you something to play into that Trick Room matchup while also redirecting attacks away and healing your Pokemon over time. So again, Amoonguss with Spore Pressure is always going to be very, very good. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at these EVs. All right, so here's the pace for this team. So again, just starting things off with Tornadus and Urshifu. Again, the same exact spreads as the other team, so nothing else needs to be said there. The Incineroar is the same EV spreads, but the main difference here is that we have Safety Goggles and Terra Dragon. So now what we're able to do is with Safety Goggles, you can ignore Amoonguss. You don't get spored. You can ignore the Rage Powder, which is important, right? And then from there, you don't need to go Grass Terra in that sense anymore. You can go Terra Dragon. So now you're able to resist the water attacks, and then at the same time get neutral damage from ground type attacks in general. All right, the Flutter Mane here, again, it's not going to do a lot of damage, right? Timid 1/16, no choice specs. This is a speed boosting Flutter Mane. It's just meant to get control for your team, okay? It's meant to go for Icy Winds, so this way your Urshifu, yourself, or even your Archaludon is able to position itself where you can outspeed the opponent and, potentially KO them. This bulk is meant to survive the Jolly Ice Spinner from a Chien-Pao. I'm sorry, the Adamant Ice Spinner from Chien-Pao, not Icicle Crash, but an Adamant Ice Spinner, which is still a very, very good calc to have. And then, I just wanted to have a little bit of damage on this. So instead of going like 60 or 36 in the special attack, I decided to add a little bit more. So at least we're doing some respectable damage with this Flutter Mane. Terra Fairy is still going to hurt, right, with Moonblast. So there's the idea there. And Icy Wind is still a great control move. And then Tornadus here, like we said, same set. And then the Archaludon Electro Shot. Okay, so 212 HP, and again, I just wanted some even numbers in the defense and also the special defense, right? Because we have an Assault Vest here. I wanted 113 speed here, again, just to outspeed the base 100s after that Icy Wind. So we can outspeed Chiyu, we can outspeed Entei after that Icy Wind. And then from there, you can just potentially go for some hard-hitting Draco Meteors, maybe Electro Shot. And then the benefit of Electro Shot in the rain, again, it's no charge. You get a special attack boost. And then if you're able to get off, a couple of these boosts, now you have some hard-hitting Draco Meteors. And then you can always just charge it back up, with the Electro Shot. So this is why Archaludon is really good. And then with Intimidate and Fake Out Pressure, you're able to, neuter your opponent and just keep healing the Archaludon in that sense, redirect attack away. So I like this team a lot. It's very balanced, very consistent, and you have a lot of options into a lot of different teams. Of course, you have a good solid core. You know, Instant Urshifu and Amoonguss, they're gonna do the job for you in enabling your Flutter Mane and Archaludon and even your Urshifu. All right, so let's go ahead and go into the fourth rental. Next up is our patented Entei team. So this was, again, one of my viewers. He was able to make the team for me, one of my coaches, Miggle VGC. Again, shout outs to him for saving me some time and able to make the rental for me, which again frees up more slots for me so I can make a couple more rentals within the month potentially. But here we are. So Miggle was able to take this team and go 7-3 in that 768 person tournament, you know, from Tom Hayden's Christmas tour. Great result. And just overall, Entei, this format is extremely good. It's able to do a ton of damage with Sacred Fire and even, you know, boosted with the Chen Pao. And now we add Snarl here. So now we're able to have a good matchup into Side Spam because we can neuter their special attack damage. And then you always have the idea, you know, with extreme speed priority, you know, boosted with Chen Pao to finish off potential KOs there, right? Because you have an Assault Vest, you're not banded. And then from here, we already know where we're getting from Chen Pao. This is Ice Spinner Chen Pao as opposed to Icicle Crash. There's no Rillaboom here, so we can blow up potential terrain and just really put a hamper on some of those, you know, side spam teams with Indeedee, IronCrown. Then the Urshifu Scarf, you know, which is really good into the mirror, like I said. Tornadus comes here yet again, this time with Taunt. So Taunt is also a very, very useful tool, especially in the mirror matchup. And then, you know, Life Orb Goldango with Amoonguss. You're able to redirect and support the Goldango setup and then just go for Life Orb +2, make it range. It's just a ton of damage and a ton of pressure. You know, really, really good in terms of what we wanted to do. You know, Life Orb Goldango is going to hurt a lot, and it has to be respected. So I like this team a lot, and I was great, and I was proud to see Miggle succeed with it. So, and he also top cut another tour with it. So, you know, the team worked more than once, right? Which is again very, very good in terms of its consistency. All right, so let's take a look at the EV spreads and see how we created the squad. Okay, so let's take a look at the EV spreads here. So again, Chen Pao, Urshifu, Tornado, it's the same stuff. The Urshifu, again, just outspeeding Choice Scarf Landers with your own Choice Scarf set. Tornadus, same idea. So here, Miggle decided to go with the Bold Nature Tornadus because at the time, you know, to try and enter the tour, he didn't have enough time to create our Timid Tornadus, but it ended up working for him anyway. So with the Bold Tornadus, you're a little bit slower, okay? But at the very least, you have a little bit extra bulk. So now you can survive the Mystic Water Surging Strikes Urshifu. So that's a benefit there. And then you, again, you know, with Taunt, at least you can potentially deny other Tailwind stuff. So, you know, that was the benefit there. Now, the Goldango, now, originally we had a little bit of HP, a little bit smaller just to hit and end in a 9. But he did not have enough time to adjust the Goldango, so he just settled with the leftover set, which is almost the same thing. It's going to have the same special attack. It had the same speed. The only difference was I took a little bit off the HP just so that I can hit that HP benchmark, you know, for Life Orb optimization as opposed to leftovers. But it still works. It's not going to be like a huge deal in the grand scheme of things. So again, I was more than enough content with this. So I'd rather just save the time in making the team. So, you know, we just went with it. And again, you know, you're still dealing the same damage and same speed here. So that's really all you care about. It's just a small difference in HP. All right. The Amoonguss, same thing, same idea here. But again, just hitting the benchmark in relaxed nature and just dumping the rest into special defense. And then just having good HP number to optimize Regenerator. You could argue you can have one more HP just to, you know, optimize the Citrus Berry recovery. But, you know, best of both worlds, either way, you know, you're still swapping it out. So at least you get the Regenerator optimization there. The Entei, I went with Adamant max speed. I think having a fast Snarl is important while still dealing good damage. So we hit the third benchmark there with the 196 attack investment. And with Chen Pao, you know, that's really going to make a huge difference in terms of, like, you know, picking up KOs with Sacred Fire, ideally, right? So I've just figured let's just settle for that. And then, oh no, that was everything. All right, so let's go ahead and go into the last rental. Rental number 5 here. This is our Latias Rental team. So the main difference with this, as opposed to the one that we made in the team building video, first difference, this Latias has Ice Beam as opposed to Draco Meteor. So that was an adjustment that we decided to make because Ice Beam is really good into landers. So that was and I think that's also really good just to be able to pressure the Okos or even potentially force a Terrestrialization to be able to resist that or neutralize that. Yes, we do have Icy Wind Flutter Mane, but I think just having that strong single target ice move was useful. Then the other change we did was King Gambit. Yes, the Swords Dance Protect King Gambit set was okay, especially with redirection support from the Ogerpon, but in the end, the Assault Vest just gave so much good value. You're able to survive some Fluttermane hits and also survive the Landorus Earth Power, Timid Nature. So I thought that was more than enough reason to go back to the Assault Vest here. Incineroar, same stuff with Parting Shot, Flare Blitz, Knockoff, Fake Out, Terra Grass with Citrus Berry. That's going to be good in terms of positioning wise. And then the Ogerpon here, with, again, just having a good matchup into a lot of different things. Good matchup into Landorus, I'm sorry, not Landorus, Incineroar, Entei, and redirection support to help you set up that Tailwind ideally. Is also really, and then of course something into Urshifu as well, which is something that Incineroar and Landorus and even King Gambit don't want to have to deal with. So just having that Ogerpon here redirect those attacks is important, right? But again, Dragon Fairy, Steel, Fire, Water, Grass Core, that's what we're going for here with this Latias team. You've seen this team all over ladder, I'm sure. Now you get a chance to try it out yourself, right? Because we have the rental here. So let's take a look at our EVs. All right, so here's the EVs here. And just to go into Latias first, so that speed investment is just hitting the 170 mark. That's just going to outspeed Landorus Incarnate. So this way, you can go for that Ice Beam first into it. And of course, you're just going to naturally outspeed the other base 100s, like another Entei, like another Chi-Yu, which is important in my opinion, right? Then we just dump the rest into 252 HP. All right, and then after that, it's just leftovers. I put 1 point in the bulk and then just a little bit more into special attack just to get a little bit more damage out of Mist Ball and Ice Beam. But of course, those were extra EVs. You can displace them wherever you seem fit. The Fluttermane here has the same bulk that we've been using, in some of our other Fluttermanes, right? 116 HP and 196 defense just allows you to survive the Adamant, Icicle, Crash, Chien-Pao. All right, the 132 speed allows you to outspeed the modest max speed Fluttermanes, right? And then that leaves just the 60 special attack EVs, which is, again, not a whole lot, but again, you have choice specs, right? So the whole idea with this Fluttermane set, it's my favorite one, is you get the speed boost, with the Timid Nature, and even Photosynthesis, right? It's going to give you that speed boost as well. You get the damage from choice specs, and you get the bulk with our EVs to be able to live physical hits. So it's a really good Fluttermane set. I like it a lot. King Gambit here, with 252 HP and 52 special defense, that's all you need to survive Landorus Earth Power, coming from Timid Nature, and that's all you really need. After that, you just hit the attack bump with Adamant Nature 196. Then you just dump for the defense and 4 speed, and that's all that's left. The Ogerpon with 236 HP and 100 defense, that allows you to live a Choice Banded Flare Blitz from an Entei. So might as well go for that neutral hit. Then you just hit the attack bump in Adamant Nature with 76 investment, a nice even number with 12 SPDF, just in case if you do terrestrialize. I don't want any whole numbers. I don't want any odd numbers. Otherwise, you'll get a decimal. They round down. So, might as well go for that nice even number. And then the 84 speed, that's going to allow you to outspeed the Timid or Jolly Fluttermanes and Chien-Paos, after an Icy Wind support. Incineroar, same Incineroar set. Careful Nature 156 attack, Careful Nature bump with 236 optimization for the the Citrus Berry, okay? And then after that, Landorus, with Landorus here, you can just have a 252 Timid set. That's all there really is to it. All right, so that's it. That's it for all 5 rentals. Let me know which one you try and let me know how you do with them. They've all been proven. They've all been tested. They should get you where you want to go. All right, at least a good starting point if you want to make any adjustments. All right, so we'll be back with another video in the next one, guys. Peace out and have a good one.